Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Growing Wealthy Grooming. This is River Lee, your host, founder of Savvy Groomer. I hope everyone is having an amazing Monday. Here in Rhode Island, we had an insanely hot weekend where it was literally 100 degrees. Let's begin with the topic. The topic today is going to be the appointment book for your finances. You're like, what are you talking about? I don't have an appointment book for my finances. I can barely hold together an appointment book for my grooming salon. You can't run whether you own a grooming salon, you're a pet sitter and you have a schedule, you're a dog trainer, or even if you're a veterinarian, you can't run your day willy nilly, letting people come and go as they please. It doesn't work. Right. And for those of you guys that are doing that, I would love you to comment below and say, oh no, I just let people show up whenever they want, pick up whenever they want. They can have whatever services they want. Even when I owned my grooming salon, I stopped allowing walk-in nail clips because people would show up whenever they wanted and I would have a dog on the table and they would show up and then have to put the dog down or back in a crate, go over, check them in. Did they have their rabies? Did they not have their rabies? And it just created a whole mess. So I said, okay, you're going to come between this time of the day, or you can make a same day appointment where you can call up and I can schedule in your nail clip. So what does that have to do with my finances? Let's have a conversation about that, right? You're going to get sick of me saying it. I know. But the truth is your budget is the appointment book for your finances, right? Because what a budget does. Now, when I say a budget, I really suggest you do a zero-based budget, and I can explain what a zero-based budget is in a moment. But when you're doing a budget, what you are doing is you are deciding the slots of money and putting a dollar amount. Same as you would have, some of you guys have multiple groomers, you might do more than one pet in a slot, but for the most part, we put one pet in a slot, to come by. We may be grooming multiple pets at once, but you wouldn't just allow 10 people to show up right in the morning, right? That wouldn't work. So what do you do? So with your money, you want to say, let's say groceries, really easy. Let's say I'm going to agree that I'm going to spend $400 a month on groceries. It's pretty safe to say. So you can do that one of two ways. You can either give yourself $100 a week. Now, some weeks, I should say some months are a little longer. That may or may not be advisable, but at least then you have a set amount of money to do it. The same way that you can only do a set number of dogs a day. For those of you guys that go over that set number of dogs or cats that you're grooming, pet sitting for, dog training, you get really stressed out, right? It's not long and sustainable. So the same thing with our budget. Now let's explain the zero-based budget. A zero-based budget pretty much means you're going to take every dollar you make and it's gonna have a plan. And this is so backwards because we're told like you want money left over at the end of your budget, right? You don't, because what happens with that leftover money? It just goes poof, right? What happens is the money at the end of your budget just goes to whatever it is that you want. If you have an extra $500 a month, you might be like, oh, sweet, now I can go buy those shears. Or, oh, sweet, now I can go out to eat 5 more times this month. Instead of saying, okay, the extra $500 is going to go into retirement or paying off debt or whatever it is in this moment that you're working on. So with your appointment book for your finances, I want you to look at how much money do you make on average. Some of you guys have a volatile income. You might be commission based. Even if you're hourly, the hourly might not be steady. How are you paid? And if you're not really sure how much you get paid on average, go ahead and take the last 6 months and figure out your average monthly income. So add up all your paychecks in each month and then divide it by however months you did. So if you did 6 months, you would take your paychecks per month, add them together and do that for all 6 months, and then add up all those 6 months and then divide them by 6. And you could get an average. It's also good to know what your highest was and what your lowest were. In New England, 9 times out of 10, November and December are the busiest times of the year because we have Thanksgiving and Christmas. However, in January and February, it's very, very cold here. And because it's cold and it's snowing, a lot of people will push out their appointments. So people that come in December, let's say right around Christmas time, December 25th, obviously, they may choose to go all the way to the end of February, even early March, and depending on the weather, because they might not drive in the snow, or they may have the unrealistic expectation that their pet doesn't need to be groomed because it's cold out and they need all that hair. So with that, I know in December and in November that I need to be able to take that money and put it into the Hills and Valleys Fund or a savings account or however I want to do mine for January and February. If I have a traditional salon in New England. Now in Arizona or somewhere warm, they have a lot of people that come in the wintertime because obviously it's much warmer in the wintertime. And in the summertime, it's blistering hot. So a lot of people probably get their pets shaved right before the summer or they go somewhere else for the summer. So they might have less people. So with your appointment books for your finances, you really want to say, how much money am I going to spend on X, Y, and Z? So with us, and I know a lot of times if you are an employee and not a business owner, if you're an employee, you need to reinvest with your personal funds into your grooming. So you should have a little category of how much you're going to spend on upgrading your equipment, how much are you going to spend on your education, how much are you going to spend going to trade shows and seminars and continuing education. Because when you're an employee, those are your expenses. Now you might have a great employer who's willing to pay for some of those things. However, if you're a business owner, those should be lines in your business budget because the business should pay for those things. But if you're a business owner, you still have a much more volatile income. So there's a lot more things going on there anyway. So with this appointment book for your finances, you're going to make a plan, you're going to make a structure, and you're going to stick to it. I'm going to put down in the show notes, there's a great app called EveryDollar. It actually allows you to create a zero-based budget. It's free. If you want the upgraded version, what it'll actually do is link to your bank account and go ahead and you can just swipe your expenses right into the categories. I like the feeling of putting them in. I find that I am a lot more aware of how much I'm spending when I actually have to input. So when I go to the gas station and I input how much I spent in gas, it allows me to keep an eye on that. Because obviously if I go over on gas, did I make a lot of extra trips I didn't need to? What was I doing that was different that month? And I might have to plan ahead better, where let's say if I'm taking a road trip and I'm driving a long distance, I should plan in the beginning of the month to spend that extra money, whether putting a category for a road trip or making the gas a little bit bigger. And the same thing with going out to eat. If I'm going on a road trip, I'm probably going to be eating out more. So that category will probably have to be bigger. So with that said, I want to challenge you guys to go ahead to either everydollar.com or consider going on the Savvy Groomer page and learning how to make a zero-based budget. We definitely go through all of how to create a budget in a meaningful way and on my online course called Personal Finance on a Leash. I would love to see you guys there. We will be launching again, depending upon when you're watching this playback. We launch at least twice a year and we go through that together. It is a 12-week course teaching people how to do a budget if you're a groomer, but also pet professionals work on that as well. So I want to thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much. I will definitely read all the comments below. Feel free to go to my website, which is Savvy Groomer, Savvy groomer.com. You can also post below with the comments. Please subscribe. We would love to be able to get over 1,000 people. If we get over 1,000 people, then we'll be able to have a greater reach, and that would be amazing. All right, guys. So I would love to see you guys at my online course, which is Personal Finance on a Leash. My website, savvygroomer.com. You guys have a fantastic evening, and I will see you next Monday. Happy grooming, guys.